Greetings, everybody. This is Robert William Marshall of Waco Masonic Lodge 92 and the Kansas Lodge of Research, checking in with you again for our X number of toasts during COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, we have our host and founder, Alex G. Powers, with us from Gardner, Kansas.
Good evening, everybody. Getting switched over here so I can see some comments. Oh, sorry about that. I thought you were still talking, but it was the replay of the other one coming through. Technology. Man, what's going on your end today, Robert?
Nothing new here. Went and walked around and by the creek for a little bit. Got some regular work done. Got some teaching of an entered apprentice done. Pretty nice day, really.
Fantastic. Yeah, I saw you did a picture in a big like metal tube. Was that under the bridge that you always talk about there on your property?
Yeah, that's the bridge where I've been meeting students. They stay on one side, I stay on the other. It's also the bridge. I don't know if you saw the photos of me as a leprechaun when COVID first started. Those pictures were taken from the bridge, looking down at me on the creek. But yeah, that photo was taken inside one of the two metal culverts that run underneath the bridge and allow the creek water to run through.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's a pretty old creek. Its route has been shifted naturally, well, I guess unnaturally, over time because of the city around here. But it is one of the creeks that the Waco Indian natives used to get in and out of their village.
Oh, no way.
Up until the mid 1800s.
That's cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was enjoying the pictures there, of course, of the the four different colors, the iconic photo montage there. But I was thinking, man, that would be such a cool tunnel to have on your property as a kid. Ride your bike through that thing.
Yeah.
Well, I was messing around today. Did another batch of sourdough bread and took Dave's advice and used some of the extra of the starter. And we tried a new type today. We did a cinnamon raisin loaf with the leftovers of the starter. So it's over there cooling off. I'm kind of excited to cut into that thing, see how it tastes though.
Interesting. I wish I was there to try it. I like cinnamon raisin bread. We've got some Russian rye starter that we're going to use to make kvass.
Ooh, Russian rye. Interesting. I've heard of that. I've never actually had a chance to try that out.
Kvass?
Or the Russian rye bread. I've never had it before.
Mm.
Fantastic. Well, we've got a bunch of... Sorry, brother, go ahead.
Kvass is a beverage that has an alcohol percentage that that as a good teetotal in Kansas, you'd be able to handle.
Right on. We'll have to give that a whirl. When I make it down there, make sure you have a slice for me.
No, it's not bread.
So it's a drink to go along with the bread?
No, you use rye bread or rye yeast to make it, but kvass is kind of a soda, kind of a beer.
Okay.
With a very grainy flavor.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's something like 2% alcohol or something.
Is that right? Yeah, I definitely never tried that before. I have to give that a whirl sometime.
Yeah, you should.
Well, we've got a bunch of guys joining on here with us. Much appreciated to see you guys here with us every night after night. Like Robert said, the X night. We're not quite sure where we're at anymore, but sounds like we're getting close to the end. So we really appreciate you guys taking this journey with us. And, lives were something Robert had talked to me about before this whole COVID thing. And we tried to get a few of them in, and this whole deal just kind of fell right into place. So we're going to try to get some kind of a schedule after this. It's not going to be live or nightly for lives, but we'll keep it in the mix somehow. I think it's been a good addition to Historical Lights whole program as a whole. So definitely want to keep it alive in one manner or another. Let's see here. We got a bunch of you guys joining in, dropping comments. Love to see the comments. Of course, we can see the total number of people viewing, but unless you drop a comment, we don't know exactly who's on here. We got Brother Maddox on here that's joining us this week. Robert, was that Thursday he's joining us?
That's correct.
Fantastic. Looking forward to having that chat with you, my brother. Got Brother Staley on here again, Brother Spillman, Brother Fletcher, Brother Allen. Of course, my wife getting everything shared out for us. Brother Barber, I just saw Most Worshipful on here. Yeah, there he is. Brother Most Worshipful Brother Talbot's with us again. And Brother Scott Mead, who's a transplant from Texas up here to Gardner now. And the list goes on. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Well, if you guys were with us last night, we did part 1 of a old shellac 78 record. And you can see there in the other window, I've got my Victrola sitting there. We're going to give side B a whirl tonight. Hopefully I've got it mic'd up a little better. We did a test run with it earlier and my wife could hear it pretty good coming through. So we're going to give it a whirl with that again. And I'm working on getting a solid recording of it. So a few of you guys had some troubles here in side 1. We're going to get a solid recording. We'll get that posted on Historical Lights website just as soon as we have that. But give me a second. I'm going to run down to the Victrola and get it cranked up and be right there. All right, down here at the Victrola, we got a fresh needle in her today. Here we go, side B. And this is of a 1913 recording, past Grand Master of New York. When this was recorded, he was the Grand Secretary addressing the state of New York.
My brother, with this right hand I welcome you to the fellowship of our Lord, and to the ranks of our ancient and honorable fraternity, whose cornerstone is charity. Charity is the brightest jewel in the Masonic crown. Charity is the Corinthian pillar, the entablature that adds grace, strength, and beauty to the fabric. Charity is a radiant spark emanating from God, the inexhaustible source of love. If we attempt to eulogize its charm, the cooler powers of the mind melt into ecstasy. The heart is its empire, and every discordant passion bows before its lenient sovereignty. Not the charity circumscribed by the narrow limits of feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, binding up the wounds of the afflicted, but that grander, broader, nobler charity that regards all men as brothers. The charity that is swift of foot, ready of hand in the cause of common humanity. The charity that writes a brother's vices in water and his virtues in enduring grass. The charity of which he who speaks as never man speaks was the illustrious example. Let this, the Mason's charity, burn upon the altar of your heart a living fire, whose superstructure is friendship, morality, brotherly love, whose capstone is holiness to the Lord. Liturgies and creeds, articles of faith and rules of discipline, names on rubric page of history, and speculative points of doctrine have occasioned more misery in the world than all the crimes for which nations have been punished and recalled to their duty. We are in no man's political opinion, nor do we interfere with his religious creed. To himself and his country we leave the one, to his conscience and his God we commit the other. To the altar of Masonry all men bring their votive offerings. Around it all men, whether they have received their teachings from Confucius, Moses, Zoroaster, Mohammed, or the founder of the Christian religion, if they believe in the universality of the fatherhood of God and the universality of the brotherhood of man here meet upon a common level. The rich man, the poor man, the sovereign, the subject are lost in the common brother. The Christian returns to his temple, the Jew to his synagogue, the Mohammedan to his mosque, each better prepared for the solemn duties of life by the association of this universal brotherhood. It is to this institution, born of heaven in the gray of the world's morning, before poets say, for historians wrote, that I am privileged tonight to accord you our craftsman's speaking, and I charge you, by the noblest instinct of your manhood, by all that you honor and revere, by the ties that bind you to earth, by your hope of heaven, so to live and so to act, that your Masonic life may be an open book, known and read of all men. Finally, my brother, I do assure you, whatever good you do is but duty done. If a sorrow you have lightened, or a tear wiped away, if of poverty's load you have taken a share from some wearied, burdened soul, if you have lifted the cup of cold water to the lips of a famishing mortal, then so far have you illustrated the divine teaching of Masonry, then in so far have you done as the Master commanded. May he, without whose knowledge not a sparrow falls, bless your fellowship in our Lord, and to his great name shall be all the praise.
All right, well, there we have it with side B. Hope everyone is able to hear that a little bit better this evening.
That did sound better.
Yeah, so I think last night a little bit of the echo from the laptop was kind of impeding on that sound there, and of course just the natural beauty of the old hand crank Victrola. I don't know if you guys caught on about halfway through there. You started to get that raw. Had to give it another crank there, get them back up to speed. But most worshipful is talking about the universality throughout Freemasonry, the charity aspects of it, and the universality between all the different religions within the craft. But if you have a chance to sit down and actually listen to it the whole way through, it's pretty impressive on many levels. One major aspect is just kind of the living history aspect that I mentioned yesterday, being able to hear. It's so much different than reading the paper, but be able to hear the actual words out of his mouth from that time is pretty powerful. The way of his speech, everything just kind of plays in and adds another level to kind of put you in that situation. And I think it's really, really cool to be able to hear something, so unique from the time to kind of put you there in a way. Well, Brother Marshall.
He specifically mentioned the Fatherhood of God under the universality of the Brotherhood of Man, which we usually hear Fatherhood of God and Brotherhood of Man, but the word universality of that common motto, or maybe he just repeated it because he heard it from somewhere else. But either way, a pretty powerful addition to the usual sentiment, and just like the booklet proceeding for potential Masons that I read a few weeks ago on here, the specific mention of the Jewish man, the Christian man, and the commonly used term in that time was Mohammedan. We now say Muslim. And same thing in that booklet I had read a couple weeks ago. I think it's pretty remarkable to think that plus years ago, leading men of American society were not only saying things like universality of religion and all religions together as a general statement, but they were specifically mentioning multiple religions. You sometimes see mentions of Hinduism or something along those lines in these Masonic texts and speeches from the era. Whereas in some ways, in some parts of the country, we may have unfortunately gotten away from that. And there's a large assumption in many places, including my own jurisdiction, that it's a Christian order or that Christian men are supposed to be Masons. And that's obviously not the case if you read any Masonic literature, or in this rare case, hear a Masonic speech from over 100 years ago.
Right. Yeah, 100% agree, man. It's really beautiful to hear how accepting and how promoting they are of that universality back in that time period. It's not just from this recording, but so many of the documents and stuff you touch in, they strongly promoted that aspect of the craft where, as you mentioned, it is kind of largely skipped over or, compacted into that single viewpoint today. So as we're here at 9:01, we'll move into the toast. And tonight, brothers, we're going to keep that in mind with our toast. And I'm going to toast to the universality of Freemasonry, all the brothers.
The universality.
Fantastic. Well, as always, we enjoy every one of you joining in with us every night. We love reading all the comments. I've been trying to reply to each and every one of them with a, funny message or a thank you. So definitely keep the comments coming. We'll get the replies on there, and we'll keep this going until we're out of lockdown here. So stick with us. We'll be back tomorrow, 8:45 Central Standard. Again, we'll share some history, chat with the brothers, and we'll end it off with a 9 p.m. toast. So stay safe, everybody. Be well, and take some time to save some history. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.